Welcome back, innovators. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about how to survive any layoffs, and it's from a video reaction by the name of Michael Borodino. Yeah, that's the guy. That's the guy that we're going to be reacting to right now. But before we do a video reaction, I do have some important things I want to cover real quickly, and it's about the state of our economy. Today's economy isn't what it used to be today. It is now a former shadow of its former self, and I realized to myself, well, is there anything that's actually more important than the economy right now? Because the purchasing power of the dollar has evaporated by, let's just say, almost 100%. It's just truly crazy of what our state of the US economy has become. It's just wild of what it's turned into in recent times. You know, especially someone that will be turning 24 within a month. It's just mind-boggling that we're still printing money while people are suffering on both sides. Left and right. It's et cetera. It's just crazy. I mean, you don't see any person that just says, hello, are you doing okay? How you feeling? You don't see that. All you see is just divide and conquer and just fight, fight, fight. That's all you see. And that's intentional. That's very intentional, and it's very dangerous. And the only solution that can be stopped at this point is just to come together and unite and stop this bullshit divide and conquer. Just stop fighting one another, because if we fight one another, we only weaken our independent sovereignty and independence. And there's only one solution, is to survive with these tactics and these layoffs and budgeting tactics. That's the only way we will survive as a nation. Anyways, that was my 2 cents of what I had to say before we start reacting. And with that in mind, it's time to get started on reacting.
Today I am in Sausalito walking by some of the houseboats over here, and I want to talk about the layoff survival guide that people need for the rest of 2025 and really going into 2026, because the layoffs really haven't been this bad since the GFC. And this is something that's hitting more and more American households right now. A couple of years ago, everybody just kind of brushed this off. But now that more and more people are being affected by business slowdowns and layoffs and people losing jobs and having a hard time finding a new job, I thought it would be a good time to give you a layoff survival guide. That way you can be prepared for this to happen in case it does happen to you, and it's going to be a lot easier to make it through to the other side. And every week we keep hearing about more layoffs being announced. You know, Amazon just reported that they're going to be slashing 15% of its human resources team. You know, Nestle says they're going to be getting rid of 15,000 workers worldwide over the next couple of years due to automation. Salesforce recently laid off 4,000 customer support roles after figuring out how to use AI for that instead. And a lot of the experts are coming straight up and saying, listen, we need to prepare for a slowdown, okay? Because the landscape is shifting dramatically when it comes to the type of jobs that are going to be available due to automation, as well as a slower economy. So the first thing to know in this layoff survival guide is what you should be doing before you even get laid off. Hopefully you don't, but in case you do, there are some preparation steps you should be taking. If you hear rumors or you sense instability at work, don't wait to get organized. You should be reviewing your finances already, start saving early, build up that emergency fund, ideally 6 months or more of monthly expenses ready to go just in case, and cut back on unnecessary spending right now. Don't wait till you already lose the job. You know, that's going to help you build up the emergency fund. It's going to help you pay down debt if you have any, and you're essentially getting ahead while you still can, while you still have a decent amount of income. Also, at your work, you should figure out what kind of benefits you have and maximize them to their fullest, especially if you sense that you could be on the chopping block. For example, if you have a flexible spending account, use those funds before you lose access to them. You can also schedule medical and dental appointments while your insurance is still active, because most people's insurance plans are tied to their job. That can be very expensive if
No
you lose your
way.
insurance. You can also collect a bunch of your personal items or data that you might lose access to that might be tied to your job. Like, for example, if you have an email address that's tied to your work and there are certain things in there you need to get, make sure you have copies of all of that before it's too late. You just got to make sure you don't take anything that legally belongs to your company and it's property that doesn't belong to you. The next thing that you can do is stay connected. Well, what do I mean by that? Now is the time to strengthen your network, particularly when it comes to your colleagues or people that
Mm.
work for other companies that might be able to help you in case of a job loss. Now's a great time to also update and refresh your resume, your LinkedIn profile, if that's something that you use, and make sure that all of your connections are current. A lot of job recruiters actually say that it's important to always act as if you're quietly on the market, which I think is kind of interesting and also sad at the
Huh.
same time, because it means there's really no
I wonder
job
why.
security anymore, which I think a lot of people already intuitively know, but always kind of like being on the lookout for another job, even when you think you got a good one, it's not really a good feeling to have. But it's the reality of where we're at moving into 2026. You can also join job groups online or in person. You can reconnect with old colleagues and build a support network of people who can share leads and advice with you. But just make sure that you keep all those communications off of your work email and away from company devices. Don't use your company's cell phone or your company's email server to make these connections, because they're going to realize that you're already on your way out the door, and that's going to put you even higher on the chopping block. Which is also kind of ridiculous, because if you always kind of have to be one step ahead of the game and always kind of be on the lookout for a job, even though you already have one, companies should be used to this by now. But it's like they want you to have your full loyalty to them, but they can just let you go at the drop of a hat just to save a few extra bucks, you know? Now, if you do end up getting laid off, the next step is you need to take care of business. Well, what do I mean by that? I mean, read every document that you receive, especially anything that mentions your final pay or your last day or a severance package, anything like that. Make sure you know what you're entitled to right from the get-go. You should be asking about your health insurance. You should find out if you're eligible for unemployment. And in some cases, your severance package can even be negotiated, especially if you have data
Mm.
showing what others in your industry have received. And
I don't know. You
honestly,
can
you'll be lucky to even
negotiate
get a
the
severance
severance
package with the
package.
way things are going right now. So
Thanks
consider
for letting me
yourself
know.
lucky if you even get one. And also, before signing anything, you should consider talking to a lawyer if you think that your layoff was discriminatory or retaliatory. And also means you should be keeping records
Most will
of
not
all
consider it.
communications between you and your employer. But at the same time, you don't want to burn bridges, and you don't want to take it too personally. You know, people take it personally and then they risk burning a bridge with an employer. But
Hmm.
if you stay professional, then you never know when a former boss might become a future reference, or maybe they move companies somewhere else and they really like you and they want to hire you at the new company that they join, you know? So opportunities can be had if you don't burn the bridge. So let's say you've already lost the job. Well, what next? You need to keep your cool. Experts recommend giving yourself permission to grieve if necessary. Keep your daily routine going as much as possible, and wake up at the same time, stay active, and connect with supportive people.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I probably wouldn't wake up at the same time. I would take advantage of being able to sleep in, but that's because I'm not a morning person. But now's a good time to start reflecting on what you want to do next. Because, for example, you can ask yourself a question like, do I even want to stay in the same line of work moving forward? Or could I use this as an opportunity to pivot into a new career or build new skills altogether and try something new or
Ah,
do something I've always wanted to try? I think that's a great opportunity, actually.
I
Quick little
agree.
side story. On the last job I had, I was working at a restaurant as basically a busboy. That was the last job, real job that I had. I had just gotten my real estate license, and literally within a week or two after getting that real estate license, I was fired from that job without really any serious reason given why. But how I handled it was like this. Instead of being extremely worried about what I'm going to do and freaking out because I have no income, and I didn't have an emergency fund back then either. And we're talking when the economy was bad, guys. This was in 2009, okay? So it wasn't that easy to get another job. But I figured, you know what? I'm going to pour myself 100% into real estate. I am going to take this opportunity to march full speed ahead. And that's exactly what I did. I went to the office 7 days a week. I learned as much as I could, as fast as I could. I learned how to make deals, and I sat in the office waiting for people to walk in and get some new clients right off the bat. And lo and behold, within just a couple of months, I was able to start kind of replacing my income at the restaurant and build up from there, because I gave it my all right from the beginning. And it was exciting to try something new and move away from being an employee to finally working for myself. So that was very cool. So don't treat it like a crisis, treat it like an opportunity is kind of the message here. But then after you've given it some thought, the next thing that you can do is let everybody know that you're open to work. You know, go to your LinkedIn profile and use the open to work feature. Post your resume on the job boards and reach out to some contacts. Let people know that you're looking to get hired again. You could even be doing this day one if you wanted to, but sometimes people need a little period of reflection to see if they even want to continue in their field. You can mention your job search to colleagues or friends, and that can open some doors unexpectedly. And if you're still officially employed during a notice period, like say you're part of a company that gives you a warn notice, you know, and you have 2 weeks or a month or even 2 months sometimes that you know that you're going to be losing that job, well, that gives you an opportunity to springboard into another job without ever even losing any income. But just remember that the job market out there is very tough, and it's normal to face rejection, guys. Like, I have gone over this. People have literally submitted sometimes thousands of job applications that have only ended up with a handful of interviews. So it can be tough. I'm not claiming it's easy, and I'm not claiming that I'm out there trying to do it, because I'm sure it's very difficult, and I can't imagine what people are going through that are searching for a job right now. But I wanted to talk about this because a layoff is kind of one of the toughest things that somebody can go through, especially when it comes.
Yeah, especially when it comes to the type of leadership that we're going through right now. I think it's much worse than it used to be. But I'm not trying to say that job searching is any easier or harder. It's just what it is. But I do truly believe that economic opportunities are coming. However, it may not be reaching everybody all at once. It's only going to reach those that truly need it the most. Now, especially on my end, requirements are there. And the other day, whenever I looked for a job at an academy, and I found out that it has federal, what's it called, gun license for those that sell firearms, and it needs to meet state and federal requirements. I had no choice but to decline. Politely, of course. And then during a phone call, I told them, are there any other positions in the company that actually have?
If you enjoy videos like this, and you're actually interested in videos like this one that just happened recently, do me a favor, like and share and comment down below and subscribe to this channel right here and right now. With that in mind, I'll see you in the next video, innovator.